Okay, so last time we looked at an introduction to Git, and then we talked about how in a future example we'd look at working with something like an Arduino file on your local desktop um, that is also committed to the repository, making a change, and then from your desktop pushing it back up to Git for something to be merged. So with that in mind, right now you'll see we are in a STEM challenge folder, and this is where the mentor team is maintaining files that we're using to code up our demo rig, our final demo rig. So with that in mind, I have a INO file here, hoist payload trans to pi, that another mentor has been working on. And as we've developed the payload, we need to modify the code a little bit. So I'm in my web browser right now, and I'm looking at this online. But since I'm going to be developing it on my computer with my Arduino or my Teensy microcontroller, what I want to do is I want to pull down a local copy of this from the repository on the web, edit it, and then be able to push it back. So I'm going to use a tool that GitHub builds that's very lightweight and very easy to use called Github Desktop. You can download this, you just search for Github Desktop, it'll pop up. There's probably a way to get to it from the main web page here, or you can search for it. But anyway, I just searched Google for it, you would download it, and after it finishes installing, it just looks like this. It's super, super clean, super simple, very, very basic program. All this is doing is running Git command line interface in the background, so people like you and me who aren't too experienced in command line, just typing code into a little bash terminal and hitting run, can do point and click instead. So once you have this installed on your computer, I'll close this, and you're looking on a website at your repository, and you want to say, okay, clone or download this. That means make a local copy on my machine. You can now click Open in Desktop. See how when I hover over that says clone this to your computer and use it in GitHub Desktop. So I'm going to do that. And then it opens up this little window once you have GitHub Desktop open. So you can choose where you want this. So in this case, I have on my storage hard drive here, in OneDrive, I have this little Git repositories folder, and it'll create a new folder named the same as the repository name, which I'm good with. So just click clone. It's basically downloading everything. Now, the fewer things you have in your repository online, the faster this goes. Nice, and it's done. Okay, so now what's going on here? So we're looking at here our local version, right? Current repository. We're looking at our clone. And if I pull up Windows Explorer, all right, so this is my computer, right? I'm in that folder, Git repositories, and there it is, STEM challenge, right? Now, ignore these status, right? This is for OneDrive, which is like a Google Drive, so it's a different syncing thing going on. But here you can see all the files that were in the repository are now on my computer. So here's another mentor, right? Here he is after building his prototype payload. He's got a Raspberry Pi 4 and he's got a bunch of our modules together. He's got a Arduino Micro Pro, something like that. A radio module here, and then the IMU, all running off 9 volts, and it's transmitting to the Raspberry Pi, which is also listening to that. Some other images. Yep, he built a tiny little payload container to hold it and to keep it integrated. Another shot, cool. So we have all that. There's a README, which is very basic. It's going to be the same README that you see on here, which is just the name of the repository, so not much to see there. Stepper testing, so this is another folder we have where we were doing some stepper motor testing so that the other mentor can mess around using a joystick. Right, so that's available to him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy into a folder of the same name so that Arduino, which likes to see that, knows what's going on there. Right, it likes to have the code live in a folder of the same name. There we go. So now I've made a change to my structure. Right, I've changed something in this. So if I go to GitHub Desktop. So you see now it's telling me, okay, I guess I can change it. So changes. First of all, this was removed and then added to a different location. So this, I'm just going to call this a change. So reorganizing, I'm going to say could type move payload to folder, same name for easier local use. And put that in there, and then I can commit. So when I click this button, commit, changes that I've made on my local, right, in this branch, are going to be pushed back to the the cloud, right? So I'm going to click commit and see what happens. Push one commit, yes. Push. Resolving. Nice. Okay, so now if we go back up to here, let's see what this looks like. I'm going to hit F5 to refresh. Boom. Okay, there we go. So a change I made on my local machine, in this case to no content, right? There was no content change. It was just a reorganizing of structure, but it's still a difference. It was pushed up to here. So now let's make a content change. So go to here, let's see if I open this up. Cool. Later. Sweet. So any change I make here will be, I can push, right? And I can do a new branch if I wanted to, push it there, and then do a merge request, whatever I wanted. Right, so configuration, got all those. Okay, constant int. So I just deleted a few lines there. And let's do this. I remember my C++. Oops. There we go. Yep, okay. Is this necessary? Absolutely not. Just demonstrating a point. Call this one. I'm going to move this whole thing up above the definitions because I'm going to add to it. And actually, let me just do this. Okay. All right, I'm going to save it. Okay, let's go back to Github Desktop. Okay, changes. What happened here? All right, so it's seeing some new lines added. That was added. Changes, and you could spend some time here, but basically it's talking about the changes. So it's an update there. So moving around comment field, commit. Cool. And if we go back to here, refresh again, 10 commits. If we look at these, here we go. Here's our latest, right? So that was me a couple days ago, adding some other code, and then this is me, right? And you can go into these and see what changed up here as well. Comments, etc. You could always revert to a previous one. So yeah, so I hope that helped, and feel free to leave some comments on our Edmodo page.